All right, so today we're in Poland, in Gdansk, one of the most shipbuilding parts of Poland. It is actually famous for its shipbuilding, and today we're going to go around Gdansk and ask Edward Gierek and Slad Sadlik about the, of course, protests of 1970 and the shipyard workers' concern about more pay and better pay, and what would happen with these working initiatives in the shipyard. Now, what you must know about Poland, it is the last country to be invaded, and no, the first country to be invaded and the last to be communitized in 1946, I believe, before the coup d'etat in Czechoslovakia. They don't count. But anyway, today we're just going to go around Gdansk and answer some questions about Poland and what the shipyard's opinions of the new regulations and the new laws surrounding the, well, what should I say? Surrounding the shipbuilding process in Gdansk. Today we're also going to go to Warsaw and talk to the party officials and see who is right and see who is wrong in this conversation about the price increase, decentralization of the economy in Warsaw and Poland, and to see whether or not the new economic reforms would bring joy or despair to the workers of the Gdansk shipyard and workers in Poland in general. Now, with that being said, today we're, of course, at night time, but in the morning we're going to go and, well, do our studies. But with that being said, I hope you all enjoy it, ladies, gentlemen, and MB. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. And for future presentation, ships to Poland, Gdansk, 1972. Learn something. So let me see. All right, let me see. Let me see. Gdansk, Poland, the 21st of December, 1972. 2 years after arrests by shipyard workers here forced the change in Polish leadership, many problems remain unsolved, and a measure of tension exists just below the surface. The same workers who walked off of their job over wage and price issues in 1970 have been conducting work stoppages in the past month over similar disputes. This time, instead of marching through the city streets where in 1970 they clashed with the police, the workers have confined their protests to the shipyards and dock area. There appears little probability of violence, but authorities are taking no chances. Local army reservists have been issued police uniform, according to a farmer living near here. 2 years ago, police reinforcements from Warsaw were needed to quell the violence in Gdansk. Issues are still the same though. The issues are the one that brought Edward Gierek to power 2 years ago yesterday. Attempts to introduce wage reforms for workers who suspect that they will lose rather than gain through the changes. A party official explained that although shipyard workers are earning 10 to 30% more than they did in 1970, they are fearful that any introduction of incentives as a basis for a wage increase will eventually operate against them. As in 1970, the workers have been unable to find exactly what the proposed changes mean to them. This is despite attempts by party leaders, union representatives, and shipyard officials to inform them through a new system of consultation. These consultations appear to be limited in the early, formative stages to managers and party activists first. They reach the rank and file later in mass meetings or discussions with the work crews. Arguments break out when the vague formulations are translated into real terms or cannot be translated satisfactorily. Last month, for example, a delegation of 40 dock workers put down their tools and demanded to see port managers about the introduction of labor-saving devices. The issue was only a peripheral of the wage problem, but it was part of a pattern and it disturbed authorities. Furthermore, there are unsubstantiated reports that worker groups are demanding an amnesty for those jailed in the aftermath of the 1970 riots. Officials have insisted for some time that nobody involved in these riots remain in jail. However, party officials concede the existence of continuing hostilities and suspicions in the shipyard area. Jan Sidlak, a Politburo member, who is Mr. Gedik's chief advisor, alluded to discontent Friday in a speech to Parliament on the current 5-year plan. Calling for increased productivity, he said, was essential that costs be reduced, partly through the decrease in Poland's high rates of absenteeism. We show up the work, and they pretend to pay us. Only through rapid growth in production can we assure an adequately rapid rise in living standards and successful solutions to recurring tensions, he said. The persistence of tension here and the apparent willingness of workers to continue to test their strength, strikes and labor shortages or stoppages are virtually unheard of in the communist world, and have worried officials, who feel they already introduced many economic improvements. Things are, in fact, better in many fields. Shortages have largely disappeared and working conditions in the yard have been improved. The shipyards have proposed through increased investment and new management techniques. Poland's new economic decentralization, which is being introduced slowly through the nation, gives greater authority to plant managers and transfers planning responsibilities from Warsaw to industry associations. It also seeks to link wages to profit, and it is here that the shipyard workers, who has earned bonuses based on the amount of work produced, is now suspicious. Under the new system, shipbuilding employees would benefit from profits within the yard, and in some cases within the industry. But what if supplies fail to arrive on time? The shipyard workers asked. Are they to be penalized if the rivet maker fails to fulfill his or her commitment? And what if rivet prices and other costs go up, trimming the shipyard's profit? Must they suffer? Party officials who are asked these questions tend to dodge them, pointing to great improvements in delivery in the past month, but the workers apparently remain unconvinced. Workers are also balking at a proposed labor code, which would combine a variety of laws and decrees regulating employment into a single law. It had reportedly undergone almost 24 revisions and failed to gain approval at last month's Trade Union Congress. A party official said, "We found that few people have read it." The workers it would eventually regulate apparently were among those unfamiliar with its terms and unable to gain satisfactory explanations for what is going on in Warsaw. But anyway, with that, I hope you enjoyed. I hope you learned something. Tended to be a bit short, but coming from ENN News, this is ENN Tonight in Warsaw, Poland, hoping that no coup or no crackdown takes place within the next 8 years, let's say 8 years. Anyway, coming from you from Gdansk, Poland, in the shipyards, I hope you enjoyed and I hope you learned something. And keep building ships and sanitize and, of course, learn something. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a blast, and NB, learn something.